Hello everyone, welcome to Killa Case Studies, where I look at a big business, take marketing lessons from that business and apply it to the local market. A couple of weeks ago, I did a killer case study on Netflix, got a really good response, thank you. And so I'm doing another one, and today I'm going to be doing a killer case study on Red Bull, a company I don't necessarily admire for the nutritional value of the drink, but I do admire their marketing strategy. They are dominating the energy drink market. They're the leaders. They sell over 6 billion cans of energy drink a year, and they earn over $7 billion a year in revenues. What are they doing in their marketing and branding that's helping them to dominate globally, right? And I'm gonna start off with their brand values. They're very clear. So I'm gonna pull some people in from Malika, from my company, and they don't know that I'm doing a killer case study on Red Bull. They're gonna come in and I'm gonna ask them what they think of this company. So when I say the words Red Bull, what comes to their mind?
Smart, exciting, and bold.
Energy.
Yeah.
Stomach aches.
Okay.
And sun.
Speed, adrenaline, and branding.
Energy.
Energy, yep.
Fun.
Fun.
Exciting.
All right, so as you can see, some key words out of their brand messaging. They're fun, exciting, they give you stomach aches. So Red Bull's motto is, Red Bull gives you wings, okay? That's very clear in their brand messaging. What they do quite cleverly is they invest a lot into event marketing. So they sponsor events, but not only do they sponsor events, they create their own events, right? And they just get their name out there through the events, okay? And part of the reason why they're so successful is not just because they sponsor events and they have a logo and the banner at an event. They actually make the event their own. So they do activities in the events that are really captivating, okay? And they really focus on the user. So I'm gonna read out some events that Red Bull sponsor or have created. Here we go. The Red Bull the Red Bull Air Race, the Red Bull Rampage, Red Bull Crash Ice, which is like a bunch of 4 guys racing on ice skates down a hilly, swirly bend. Okay, it's really dangerous. They crash into each other and they try not to amputate each other's limbs. People watch it and they love it. Red Bull Soapbox, Red Bull Flug Tag, I think it's called, where contestants actually make their own aeroplane and they fly the aeroplane off a stage into a river, okay? Random, but it has a big buzz around it. Red Bull Cliff Diving, Red Bull Snow Scrapers. They sponsor events that are aligned to their brand values, okay? So these events are adventurous, these events are fun, these events are edgy and energetic. Now, like I said before, not only do they sponsor or create events, but they make it their own, okay? So an example of this is the Flug Tag event. Attendants are actually given us a thumb sign, right? And if they think that an airplane's gonna fly successfully, they'll give it a thumbs up. And if they think that it's not gonna fly successfully, they'll give it a thumbs down. So they do that because it keeps attendants engaged. So Red Bull also support cultural events. So they're big in sports and they're big in culture. Sports, culture, sports, culture. You can't go wrong with those two. You're gonna hit your target market if you tackle the two. So sports, they tackle the body, and culture, they tackle the mind. It's very smart. So they create and they sponsor a lot of music festival events. Let me just read out some musical events / cultural events that they support. The Red Bull Culture Clash, the Red Bull Mystic Festival, and Coachella, which is a huge event, right? Where young people go out into the desert, okay? Like, you know, the Nevada desert in America. And all the big names, all the big artist names come and they perform, like Beyonce, Jay-Z, etc., etc. Now, the other thing they do with events is they're really big on PR, right? On PR stunts. Now, one of the most successful PR stunts is they organize the highest free fall skydive in the history of mankind. So there is a video out there on YouTube that has been watched by tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people, where there is a guy who has gone all the way up to nearly to space, and he's got an astronaut helmet on, right? He's got his Red Bull gear on, and he's jumped out of a capsule, and he has fallen all the way to the ground, parachuted, and successfully landed. Red Bull supported that event, and I remember when this happened, people went berserk because it was amazing. It was also really emotional because you could see everything. The guy had a camera on his head so you could see him free falling down, and when he finally made it down safely, everyone was clapping, people were teary, he gave everyone a big thumbs up. It was a pretty emotional event, and at the end of it I remember thinking, wow, Red Bull organised this. Wow, Red Bull are such a cool brand. They're adventurous, they're brave, they push the limits, you know. So they sponsor and create a PR stunts like that, and yeah, it's really helped with their brand messaging. Now, onto their content machine. They have a really awesome content machine. So they actually have a media company within Red Bull, and they're in charge of pushing out, of creating really good content. Now, they do all the social media stuff, right? As most successful companies do, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff, right? They do it really well, okay? But some other things they do that most people don't do is that they actually own their own media. So they have their own online TV station where they pump out really good content. So they're not relying on just the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the YouTubes of the world. They have their own TV stations, okay? They own their own radio station. They own their own record label where they have artists that they record under them. So, you know, not only are they pumping out really good content through social media channels, but they're pumping out really good content from their own owned media, okay? Now, lastly, I just want to express the point that Red Bull does really well also because they focus 150% on the user, okay? So often when companies do really well, they forget about the user and they focus on just profit and they look very short term. No, Red Bull focus on the user. So when you look at what they do at events, for example, they're always trying to keep it interactive, they're always trying to keep it engaging, they're trying to involve the crowd, they're trying to make it entertaining for everyone that's there, okay? They're not just interested in pushing their product and selling their product or having their banner up in the stands. They're interested in making the event as engaging and fun as possible for the user. Okay, so how do we apply these lessons to the local market? Now, having clear brand values is a must. Don't be generic, don't just say service, quality, experience. Most people have them. If you don't have them, you shouldn't be in business, so be specific. Now, event marketing. Now, I'm not saying be like Red Bull, okay? There's only one Red Bull around. Many of you might be B2B, okay? But look, event marketing can apply to your business, okay? Seminar marketing is really effective in B2B. Networking events, if you organize them at your office and invite professionals along, business owners. Organizing conferences and being the main sponsor and keeping it engaging, interactive, and inviting your target audience to those events. Content marketing and digital marketing is super important these days, regardless of what business you're in. In terms of content marketing, find the channels where your audience are, right? Some people are on Facebook, but not on Instagram. Some people are on LinkedIn, but not on Facebook, okay? So understand where your audience is and focus on those channels and pump out content that is aligned to your brand values. Lastly, and most importantly, be customer obsessed. If one of your values is to be super responsive, then be super responsive throughout the process. Get your receptionist to be super responsive. Make sure that your account management are super responsive. Make sure your aftercare is super responsive, okay? If that is your brand value, then all your staff need to follow those values. And if you have all of these aligned together, then you're gonna do well. Okay, so I hope you learnt a lot. Until the next killer case study, peace.